right now. What I really want to do is start getting this more wisdom from Mr. Brad Hager. And as you know, this is a part 3 of the series of interviews we're doing. On the first one, we talked a little bit about how the company came about and some of our products. And on the second interview, we talked about the non-negotiables. What were the qualifiers? And Mr. Hager summarized that as the price point. They had to have a price point that was going to sell within the retail regime of the marketplace. We have that. They also wanted to be able to have a big enough price jump between the wholesale price and the retail price so that a distributor could actually make a retail profit and make a residual income just off of selling retail. They were able to do that. Another one of those qualifiers was to have a dollar to BV ratio that put value back into the system. They did that with a 98.2% dollar to BV ratio. And then they wanted incentives for the auto-ship. So that's all the things. And they did that. They got that in place where if you purchase a bottle of Swish every month, you get a free spray. And you can do that at my website, www.sealyguy.com. And with that being said, it is now my honor and pleasure to introduce Mr. Brad Hager. We've known him for about 18 years, been working very closely since this company opened up last May, just about a year ago now. He has earned $30 million. Him and his wife have earned over $30 million in this industry. She had actually owned her own network marketing company for a while there, for about 10 years, over a decade. But they have a stated goal of helping 100 people become a millionaire in this industry. And they have done that for 20 people thus far. And that doesn't happen by accident. You know, that takes a repetitive. He's been able to do this in several companies where he joins the company, races up to be the top income earner. You can't do that without on purpose, right? You got to have some sort of system, some sort of thing that you can build upon to be able to do that again and again. One person might get lucky one time, but to do that 4 or 5 times, as Mr. Hager has, that requires a little bit more. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you the very first question. That's like, you know, you do have this reputation of being able to build systems. I've been talking with some network marketers. They've been attracted. They've been coming to me and asking me questions through Facebook. And they're like, yep, the one thing we know about Mr. Hager is that he has got a system in place. And that's the reason why he's always has the success when he joins the company. So would you like to elaborate on that a little bit, Brad?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hope everybody's safe and healthy through the period we're going through here. So welcome, everybody. And hopefully I try to send this over to my site. I hope it went over there so we could have some of those. But definitely, if you're coming on, as Guy mentioned, tell us where you're coming in from. What's your city, state? Drop that in the comments down there. I'd love to hear from you. Guy, you're exactly right. We do, I believe heavily that you should build a business, and I like to say build a business that's system dependent, not people dependent. So, by the way, if you're not taking notes on here, grab a notepad. If you're driving, maybe pull over, if you will, or even if you're watching this on the replay, grab a notepad real quick, pause it, and grab a notepad. Because I'm going to give you some nuggets. Because Guy, you're kind of getting into my wheelhouse now. When I love talking about products. You got to have great products, got to have great comp plans. But now you're getting into the system part and how we've made. You mentioned making those millions of dollars. How we've done that. I like to say that there's when you see that old saying that when you see that if you see a turtle on the top of the fence post, one thing's for certain, and that's that he didn't get there by himself, right? He had a system, he had help, right? And so getting into the system portion of the business. Take some notes here, guys. Especially, I don't care if you're with our company or not. If you're listening in from another company, this will help you build your business. I'm kind of like that. I mean, I think there's no shortage of people. I don't even look at other network marketing companies as our competition. There's a lot more other things outside the network marketing that's our competition. So if you need to take some notes, I definitely encourage you to do that. But back to the point I just made. I like to build a business that's system dependent, not people dependent. If you'll write that down, if you kind of get that, of course you got to build a system, right, to be able to do that. But build a business system dependent, not people dependent, backed on the backs of great leadership and great leaders, right? And so I'll kind of try to get into that. I mean, matter of fact, here's a great acrostic for you that you can write down. And in my opinion, what system stands for. System stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Save yourself time, energy, and money. And so if you otherwise, because part of network marketing is condensing units of time, you only have 24 hours a day, right? And you can work this business 5 hours, 2 hours, you can work it 20 hours, whatever a day if you want. But it's not how much time you put in, it's what you put in your time. And if you got a system set up, you can save a lot of time. Now, let me just maybe kind of talk about this just for a second, Guy, because you kind of alluded to this as you started the introduction of what we've talked about leading up to now. Because I want to make a point of how important systems are in a business building system, and maybe if we have time, get into what a system actually is, because a lot of people don't really understand, in my opinion, what a system really means. And so, but how important is a system is this? When I'm talking to people, and if you're evaluating a network marketing company, maybe you're sitting there today and you're still looking for a company, you haven't got into one. I mean, there are lots of people getting into network marketing right now while they're working from home and such as that. I mean, our business is booming. We're having one of the best months, certainly the best month of the year, one of the best months we've had since we went into our pre-launch. And so people are looking. So if you're looking, I always tell people you evaluate a network marketing company, or you should, like choosing a racehorse. Now, if you wanted to choose a racehorse, and you wanted to go to the Kentucky Derby, number one, you got to have a very good racehorse to even qualify to get in, right? And so you want a strong horse, you want a fast horse, you want a horse that's going to race, right? You wouldn't pick a loser, would you? And so when you look at a racehorse, I kind of make this a real simple approach so everybody can get their mind around it. And that's, there's when you're choosing a racehorse, you want to choose, you want to look at what are you looking for? Like number one, and these are in not really that much of an order, but one of the first portions of the horse is, you got to have four legs of a horse, right? But one of the legs is the company, right? So you got to look at a company. What most people want to know about the company is, is it solid, right? Is a company solid? And a lot of people like startups. I like startups a lot myself, or getting in early, put it that way. We've made a lot of money. Most of our money is getting involved with companies less than 2 years old, and sometimes even less than a year old. So, but that's your preference there. But how's the company? Is the company there? And company has a little bit to do with leadership. But when looking at an owner, I like to look, because I made the mistake of getting in with an owner who's never had network marketing experience, and while I learned some stuff from that particular person. I don't have anything bad to say. I learned some great stuff, had a good little run a little bit, but I can tell you that makes a difference is, does the company owner or people run the company have real live network marketing experience, not just success in other businesses outside, right? And so you look at a company, so that's number one, right? But let me just say this, don't make your decision on getting involved with a network marketing company based on ownership or based on the company only, right? Because let me just give you a little secret, the company's not going to build your business, right? We're all independent contractors. We're members or independent distributors. And independent means if it is to be, it's up to me, right? The company's going to supply, the company's going to do their part. And so great company, but even if you got a great company, you got the best company out there, folks, you only have one leg of the horse, right? Is a one-legged horse going to win a race? No. So what's the second leg? Okay, the second leg, and again in any particular order, is products, right? And are the products, do they work? Are they effective? Number one, I mean, if they don't work, there's no need to sell them, regardless of how expensive or how cheap they are, right? And so, is there a market for the products, right? That's why we chose to go into the market we're in. You kind of heard about that. We're in a market here, CBD's $1 billion roughly right now. It's going to 20 billion, 25 billion next 3 to 5 years. So is there a market for the products that you're looking at? So when you look at products and you're evaluating that leg of the racehorse, are they effective? Is there any proven results that the products work? Is there any, I like to say that documentation beats conversation. And Guy, I mean, I don't think anybody in the world, and this is the little plug for us here, and I know we're doing this mostly for, for everybody, but the point is, I don't know there's anybody that can match our before and after pictures. They're just unbelievable. And do you have documentation? So do they work? And there's a documentation that can help you build the business. Are they priced for sale, and are they priced for profit, right? And so, we talked about that a little bit. Are they priced low enough that the average person spends $56 a month on nutrition? If you're selling products at $100, $200, then you're kind of pricing yourself out of the market. So price comes into the product category. The marketplace does. The BV, as we've talked about before, try to find a product that has some type of sizzle or uniqueness to it. One thing I'll debunk the rumor or the myth that you need a patented product. That's a crap of bull. We've made millions of dollars, folks, and selling products that aren't patented. that aren't proprietary or whatever. Most of all formulations are proprietary, things like that. And so, I mean, if you have a patented product, fine, and that's a nice sales approach, but it doesn't really do anything for you. It can be the best patent in the world. If you don't go sell it right, then you're not going to make it. And same thing with the pricing. The pricing is very important because if it's got a market, people like it, but they can go buy it somewhere else for a third of the price or 50% less. So all these factor in the product. We've kind of talked about that. So, but here's what I just find crazy. There are some people that they choose the company they're going to start with because the company only, or they choose the company they're going to start with because the product only. I'm getting in because the product only, and that's again, if you're going to use the product, fine, but that product is just one leg of the horse. So even if you got a great company, you got a great product, you only have two legs. Can a two-legged horse win the Kentucky Derby? Can it win a race? No. So let's look at the other two legs. The third one is the comp plan, and that's another big one, guy, that I watch people that. You get on the phone with them sometimes, and all they want to do is talk nothing but about the comp plan. And understanding the comp plan, it has to be a great comp plan. But I can tell you, I know a company that's got probably the worst comp plan in the world. And I'm not going to call their names because I'm not here. And as a matter of fact, I have a lot of respect and appreciation for the company, kind of the granddaddy. You probably know what I'm talking about. Worst comp plan in the world, but they do about $8 billion a year, right? So the comp plan needs to be good. It needs to be fair and balanced. It needs to, if you're going to be a retailer, is there a retail portion of the comp plan? If you want to be a big builder, is there big money to be made? So you got to look at that. But a comp plan at the same time is not going to sell itself, right? But it is one of the horses, so it needs to be. One of the legs of the horses, right? So it needs to be factored in. But don't go out here, guys. I'm just telling you. And if all you're doing is bragging about your comp plan, and you're forgetting about the foundation, the company, and you're forgetting about the product. And even if you have all three of those are the basic three. This is why I kind of named them first. And there's a handful of companies that have decent products and they're priced right. BV's okay, and got great ownership and great company stable, and then they've got a decent comp plan. I'm not going to say there's a ton of companies like that, but there are some. There's some great companies out there, right, that have those three. Then the fourth horse, though, is the fourth leg of the horse is what you just brought up, Guy, and what most people overlook. They make their decision to get into network marketing or choose a company for the wrong reasons, or only partial of the reasons that they should be using. And that the fourth leg of the horse is the system. Do you have a system to save yourself time, energy, and money? Because you only have so many hours a day. Most people, when they start network marketing, are part-time, right? And so if you don't have a system, or the company doesn't have a system, or your upline doesn't have some type of system, and by the way, the system is not just about sponsoring. We can talk more about that later, but the system is designed to get them in, keep them in, and move them along, right? To help you build a long-term success, not just go out here and sponsor. And so does the company have a system? Do they have, a recruiting system, a training system, all that different parts of the system? Now, if you do, because that's the thing is now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but we can talk more if you want to ask me some more questions about the depth of the system, so I don't take up too much of your time here. But so now if you've got that, right, if you've got a company and your upline or your company does have a good system, then now you have the fourth leg of the horse. Now you can have the best system in the world and the worst products, you're not going to make any money. Best system, best products, not terrible comp plan, or a comp plan that doesn't suit whatever your needs are. If you're going to be a retailer, if you're going to be a builder, whatnot. So it's got to be all. So in each one of these, you should be rating on a scale of 1 to 10, right? And so, but the system is where I start really getting passionate, because it does. Because that's, I think, is one of the big separators of it, right? And when you start, because again, there are a number of companies that do the first three legs of the horse, but then the fourth leg. Now, before I hand it back to you, I will say one more thing, so I won't leave you hanging, okay? And so now you have four legs of a horse. Man, I've chose the right company. I've got the right system. The products are priced right. I've got they got a system to help me build and help me move along, to get people in, to keep them in, and move them along, get them to the bigger checks, and to make a career here, right? So they got all the things you need. There's one more thing, right? You got a nice horse. Stallion, big, healthy legs, great legs on a scale of 1 to 10. They're all 8s, 9s, and 10s. So you got a strong horse that has a chance to win, right? There's one more part, the head. It's the head. Because a horse with 4 legs and no head, you put that on the Kentucky Derby out there, it's going to run into other horses. It's going to run backwards, sideways, just like a chicken with their head cut off, right? And so the head is who's leading all these components and who's going to lead you, and that's the mentorship and that's the leadership. One of my other favorite things I love to talk about is who's leading you. Okay, do you have access to that leader? Is that a proven leader? Right? Is the leader retired sitting on the beach somewhere, or are they still engaged? So that's we can, that's a whole nother conversation. But then once you've got those 5 things, now you're ready to make, if you can check off those 5 boxes and find those, and people like yourself as a leader guy that's out here, you are leading, you're out here putting these lives together, you're out here doing webinars, and you're doing the things that can, again, so people can check that box and you understand that part, and you talk about all of these parts of the horse. And so, and when people see that, but again, it is really understanding, because I watch people do it, and I'll turn it right back to you after this. I watch people get in, they make the decision to get in network marketing, because the product only. And again, there's nothing wrong with that if if you've checked out the other portions, or if all you're going to do is use the product. But if you want to get into network marketing to make money, you need to have at least those 5, and there are a few other ancillaries. I could talk about, the saddle and the bridle and some of the other things that kind of fit in, but most of it fits in within those 5. Choosing your company that has all 5, and now you've got a horse. And that system, man, it's it is, once you've got the first 3 out of the way, and most people look at those 3, but make sure you look at it in totality, not just singly, because you just don't want a one-legged horse or choose the company for just one reason. It should be all 5. And I do, in my personal opinion, once you got the other 3 out of the way, and those are easy to find. Once you've got the system, don't forget the head, who's going to mentor you, take you and by the hand, and take you to hundreds of thousands or millions or whatever it is your goal is to earn. So, but anyway, long answer there, but
No, that was great, Brad. Thank you so much. And I will tell you, it is interesting in building this from the ground floor, this company Sealy by Design from the ground floor. One of the things that's been really interesting is, as we've been growing, the questions we're getting from people, or at least my wife and I, that we're getting, the conversations are changing a little bit. In the beginning, it was just all about the product, right? Because we're launching with this new product, new technology and everything. So everybody wanted to know about that. But now that we're starting to get a little traction, we're starting to get solid ground, we're attracting a different type of person that's starting to look at the company and the business. And those questions are being elevated and asking more about, okay, now who is the owner, and who is basically what you just went through with the different 4 legs, and then also the leadership. I know there are people watching us and seeing where we're headed, and they want to make sure that the head is there of the horse, right? So we're doing our part to go out here and build this every day. But there is something you kind of touched on something, and I would like to dive into it just a little bit deeper. I know we want to try to get to some of the leadership stuff as well, but I don't want to quite leave this system question alone just yet, because I think we could go even a little bit deeper on this, Brad. And when you talk about a system, you had said that some people think that the system is just about recruiting. But in reality, and having been around you for a period of time, fortunate and honored to be around you and watch you build these companies, I know that there's more than just recruiting to making a network marketing business go and to last, and so that you have a lasting team, so you really build that residual income. Could you elaborate a little bit more on what it really takes, what a system in a network marketing company or a business really is?
Yeah, absolutely. And just I want to touch on just really quickly what you said. You're talking about how people are now asking more questions or different questions, and sometimes that's if you're getting the product questions, that's probably because you're leading with the product, and that's fine. But there's no saying, this is a great one to write down, those of you who are taking notes, and that is that you can tell more about a person by the questions they ask, not the answers they give. You can tell more about a person by the questions they ask, not the answers they give. And Guy, just I wasn't going to go into this, but you kind of triggered me on this, and that's stuff I love. But when I'm talking to someone, again, I'm the founder of the company now. I still help you guys recruit, but when I'm in prior to being the founder, and I'm out here really heavy recruiting and bringing people to me, I'm always listening. I've got all the stuff that I've got the product to tell them about. I got all this stuff to tell them about, but I'm listening to what they're asking. Are they asking only product questions? Are they just stuck on the product? Are they asking a good balance of questions? Are they talking about, the comp plan some and getting those questions? They ask me about those because, again, there's one thing about sharing, and I like to say when you're telling, you're not selling, right? So you got to, prompt some, have a healthy conversation about, healthy exchange of ideas, right? And so I'm, I like to get the questions out, and so I love to, but and as I'm doing this, here's what I'm doing in my mind. This will help some of you as I'm doing this again and again. If you're doing all the talking, sometimes you're going to miss some good prospects. You got to slow down long enough and let them talk a little bit. Let them ask, what kind of questions do you have for me, and then you answer those. What other questions you have, and things like that. So they're asking the questions, and I'm sitting there evaluating this prospect, whether they're supposedly a networker or whether they're brand new. I'm evaluating them on their questions. If all they're doing is talking about product, I kind of, well, they're okay. If they're talking about comp placement only, they're okay. But when I know I've got a really live wire, somebody that's kind of, for lack of a better word, gets it, they may talk a little bit about ask a question a little bit about the product if they have those. Most of the time, you get a lot less product questions because they've already done their research and got that off the website and the information you've sent them. And you'll get a few comp plan understanding questions, but you'll get a little bit of questions about the company and stability, those kind of things. But then when I know I've got somebody really good is when they start asking questions about the system, right? And because again, if you look at it in level of knowledge and involvement, maturity in this industry, most people again get caught up in the first, and most of them the product and comp plan. My product's better than yours, my comp plan's better than yours. Great, right? So there's more to it than that, guys. Okay, and so as you get someone on the line asking questions about the system or asking about leadership and just those depths, and that's when I even get excited because I know at that point I've got someone that's more ready to take this industry on and go. And nothing wrong with it. We're all started at the same place. I mean, it was the product that originally got me in, right? Years ago, 29, 30 years ago. And so, but anyway, just a little sidebar there. I'll answer your question now, but I just couldn't help but just really valuable information, guys. If you learn to listen and kind of learn, are they asking questions about all 5 pieces, all 4 legs and the head, or are they just only, and you can tell a lot about who you've got. And again, no offense to any of those that just get all caught up in the product. We want them too. And sometimes they go on to be some of your biggest and best distributors. However, it is nice when you just have like I said, I call it a healthy exchange of ideas. When you get on the phone and you're kind of just gelling with these people, and it's not just only single focused. It's not just about one leg. It's about the whole horse, right? And I'm like, man, this person can do well, right? And so anyway, so that's just I just couldn't help when you brought that up about how people are asking more better questions. And I will say this: the greater the leader, you're kind of attracting that guy. You guys you're leading. You get it, and when you kind of that old law of attraction, you're kind of bringing that too, because your whole persona as a leader, kind of gets you a lot more of that too. So system. Okay, so you got me off on that. Yeah, I just couldn't resist that. So that's your fault. So
hey, that's why we love you, Mr. Hager, because I'll tell you, I mean, you are such a wealth of knowledge. I mean, and the people tuning in, they're taking it all in and they're getting it. So just keep going. We love it.
All right. Well, and by the way, if you have any questions or comments, put them down there, and I'll review this. I know it's you're live, but I think I got it on my side as well. So between the two of us, if anybody has any questions, put them down in the comments real quick. Hey, if you're getting any value of this, go put that heart button about 20, 30 times, or that like button. Show us some appreciation that you're getting some value here, and we'll get any questions answered as well. About on the back end through a direct message there. The system, real quick, and this is not a real quick conversation, but I'll kind of keep it in a condensed version, because this is when I train our leaders about the system. I mean, we'll put them in a room and we'll spend hours kind of discussing and what the system is, so they really get a fully engaged engagement into the system. And again, remember, guys, the name of the game is get them in, keep them in, and move them along. And so many people again think the system is nothing about but recruiting, right? They just think it's all about recruiting. That's the system, and that's, again, don't get me wrong, that's part of the system. But that's just network marketing 101. The name of the game is once you get them in, you want to keep them in and you want to move them along, right? And you need a system to do that, right? And people ask me, I'll hit on that just quickly here. And people ask, say, well, how do we can teach you how to get them in. I mean, we've got an amazing recruitment system, and maybe we'll have a chance to discuss a little bit of that guy. But once you get them in, now you got to keep them in, right? One of the ways to keep them in, obviously, if you have an effective product that works and they get a value from, and it's not overly priced, so forth. But the biggest way to keep them in is to give them a check, right? And so most people don't quit if they're making money, right? Now, however, part of keeping them in is you want to move them along, right?
Yes.
And so these kind of all tie together, right? And I could spend an hour just talking about this and just really dissect these three pieces. But to keep them in, you have to move them along. Because let me give you an example. If you're making $5,000 or $10,000 a month, $500 a month, whatever it is, even $20,000, $30,000 a month, after a while, $20,000 a month makes Jack a dull boy, right? He wants to, like I'm making $20,000 a month for the last 2 years. I want to make more. I want to be moved along, right? And I've done that personally. In my second network marketing company that I was in, I was making some good money. I was single at the time, and I was making, anywhere between 35 at the low end and 65 at the high end, 1,000 per month. And this is 20 something years ago, and you're single. That's a lot of money, right? But even that being that kind of money, guy, after a while, I'm looking around at people over here making 75,000 a month, 100,000, $200,000 a month, and I'm like, I want to do that. But I was in a situation that no one was moving me along, right? And so no one knew how to move me. That goes back a little bit to the leadership, right? And so the you have to move them along even to keep them in, because if you get that guy making 10,000 a month, if you don't have a system or a way to move him along, there's a good chance he's eventually going to leave you and go where the grass is greener, where they can make more money and get fed, right? And so that's a little bit. So the system in and of itself, what I teach, and this is it falls into three categories. And if you're taking notes, you can draw a circle on your paper there. Just draw a circle, and then draw out three pieces of pie in that circle, right? So you got three sections in that circle. And I relate this circle somewhat as a tire on a car. And if you're driving a race car, or if you're driving even just a car, if your goal is to get from California to Florida and you're driving across country, then you want that tire perfectly balanced, and you don't want it flat, you don't want it lagging, you want it to go. If you're driving a race car, you got to have it perfect, right? Those treads get low, whatnot. The guys bring them in off the pit row and exchange them and get them back out there so they can win, right? It's very important that this balance. And so in these three pieces of pie, you want to make sure you're doing all of them, because if you're only doing one, the rest of the tire is going to be flat, and you're going to be going thump, ka-thump, 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 and you're never going to get any speed, right? And so in these three pieces, if you put in those three pieces, tools is one portion of the pie, events is another, and then recognition, right? Recognition. And so these are the three pieces of the system. Well, I thought you were going to talk about recruiting. Well, we may talk about that, but let me give you the bigger picture here, because I know many of you are not just here just to make a few hundred. Some of you would like to make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions in your career here, right? And so if you look at this system of tools, events, and recognition, everything falls into that, right? And so, and you as either a leader or the company, we as a company, we provide this, and most companies provide some semblance of this. Most of them don't know they're doing it like this, but the point is, the better you get at these three things. So let me kind of elaborate a little on it. Again, guy, when I do this training, and this is not a basic training. This is usually what I do in some of our leadership trainings when people are ready for it. But we're going to do it for everyone today. But when I do this, by the way, I do each of these segments will spend at least 30 minutes to an hour on each of the three. Okay, and we don't have that time today. But let me just quickly elaborate, because again, I think the big point to be made is, again, folks, systems is not just about getting them in, recruitment. That's what most people think. Guys, it's much, if you're going to be a professional, you're going to make big money here, you're going to have to understand it's much bigger. So tools. What are some of the tools that you would use to build a business? Obviously, this live right here is a tool, right? It's a way to get, and it's a great way to build your business, is to do Facebook Lives, right? Other tools are maybe conference calls, right? The products, by the way, are tools. Using the product, how it's affecting you, sampling the products, getting products out to other people. The more products you get out, the more results you're going to get back. So so using the products as a tool, right? So it's now again, conference calls, webinars, I mean, on and on and on the different tools you can use to build a business. But you know what? What we're doing here today, Guy, is a tool, but it's also an event, right? And so, if you're getting good at it, so you have to understand the value of events and making sure you got a plethora of events, and understand that even a conference call is an event. As a matter of fact, let me just say this: there's three ways we make money in network marketing. And number one is we share the product. Share the product. You share the product, you share the plan, and you build for events. So if you take a note, you share the plan. I call it STP, STTP, BEM, build for events, right? So sharing the product. And if you write that down, you put maybe $1 sign. You've seen the restaurants when they rate these restaurants, and one of them has they're less expensive. They may have $1 sign, and another one has $2 signs, and 3 or 4. You get up to the $5 signs. You better bring your mortgage payment because you're going to have a big meal, right? So, but the point is, if you look at just selling the product only, you make X amount of money, right? And most of just selling the product is on your efforts, right? And so now, if you start sharing the plan, you start put $2 signs there, because now you're going to make more money, right?
Right.
Because if you have one McDonald's, you can make X. If you have 10 McDonald's, in other words, you get other people helping you, OPM, other people's efforts, right? OPE, other people's efforts, and so you're getting that, and so you make more money, right? And then the last thing is you learn to build for events. Guys, I've had people that wasn't that good at sharing the plan, wasn't that good at sharing the product. They did enough to get some people in, but they learned how to build for events. Build for events. And so if you're doing a webinar, if you're doing it, you learning how to build for events, okay? And so now this is an event. And if you and Elka did a great job building for you, you probably got lots of people on it, and that's a whole training that we do on this event. It's like, when we do events, that's the thing, is whose event is it? See, most people think it's a corporate event or it's your event as the upline. No, whose event is it? When does the event start? What is my portion of the event? What is my portion before the event, during the event, after the event? When does the event end? How can I use this event to make millions or explode my business, right? And who should be building for the event, right? So this is a whole, ton of just, whole conversation on its own, right? But you see the crossover. This is the live. It's a tool to build your business, or a tool to get information out. Now, I know we're talking more business strategies, but I know you guys do lives about the CD products and opportunity, right? I know you do webinars to build your business. You're one of the best out there doing webinars, right? You do webinars every day to help build business. You're helping people make money, and so you're using the tools. But the tool also is an event, and the better you get at building for event, and say, for instance, guys doing a webinar for you. A webinar is a tool, but a webinar is also an event. The better you get at building for events, the more money you're going to make. If you put 3 people on the call, you make X, or have an opportunity to make X. If you put 30 on the call, so the events are huge, and much of what we do in network marketing is event. Conference calls and events, conversations, one-on-one, everything, not everything, but there's much as an event and much are tools. Some of these, now then you have recognition. Huge thing. There's no saying that when it comes to recognition that babies cry for it and men die for it, right? Babies will sit here and cry when they're hungry. I want some recognition. Look at me, mommy, look at me. Or they're hungry, they're wet, whatever it is, they're crying for recognition. Some recognition is, hey, I need a change, right? I've just wet my diaper. Some is, I'm recognition, hey, come look at me, I'm hungry over here. Some recognition is just, they just want mommy to look at them. Daddy, look at me, right? And of course, men die for it. I mean, to get a Purple Heart, they go fight in wars, and they'll die for recognition, right? There's no saying that we have in the business that if elephants work for peanuts, people work for pens. They work for ranks, right? And so I like to say, catch them doing something right, or praise them to profits, right? Praise people, recognize people, and in short, reward the behavior you want more of. Recognize it, right? And so recognition is huge. Matter of fact, here's a great one for you. One of my mentors gave me this years ago, 20-something years ago, I think it was. And I was sitting in a seminar, and I didn't really, it's a handful of leadership anyway. I didn't really understand what it was going to mean to me at the time, but I knew it was going to be huge. And I wrote it down. Matter of fact, recognition. I was asked a number of years ago to write a chapter in a book with about 20 network marketers, 20 top network marketing leaders in the world, and around the country, around the world. And they asked me to write a chapter, and if I would do that. And I said, well, okay. Well, I said, well, first, what do you want me to write it on? What is a restriction? He said, you can write on anything you want. And I wrote the chapter on recognition. I entitled it "Recognition: The Driving Force," because again, the money's good, but the recognition is going to drive people. And how big recognition? I could have wrote on recruiting. I could have wrote on leadership, but I wrote a whole chapter, long chapter on recognition. And here's what one of my mentors told me years ago, and this is a great one to write down. He said they come for the money, but they stay for the big neon sign that says love and recognition. People come for the money, but they stay for the big neon sign that says love and recognition. And I didn't know what that would mean at the time. I was a neophyte, like maybe some of you, just kind of getting in this thing. And, you get on this webinar or this live today, thought we were going to talk about products, right? So I'm thinking, what's this guy talking about? I'm kind of new, kind of starting to come through the ranks. And I just wrote that down. I knew that would be a golden nugget that I would need later down the road, and I do, because people will come. Most people come in this business because of the money, but they're going to stay, and part of moving them along is recognizing them. Hey, let's get you to the next stage so you can speak on our calls. Let's get you on. We're going to be doing recognition. And giving out the big checks or giving ranks and stuff on the stage, right? And after a while, I've had people, I don't need that rah-rah stuff. Just give me a check. Yeah, right. First time you make $50,000 a month and we don't recognize you, you're going to be calling the company. You're going to be telling us you're going to quit. Yeah, the recognition is important, guys. I can tell you that. And so the recognition is huge. Now, when do you do the recognition, right? You do the recognition at the events. And if you understand this, recognition is a tool to drive your business, right? And so when you start seeing this, okay, if you're using recognition as a tool, most people didn't think of recognition as a tool. They don't even think about when you do recognition, right? We do our conference calls on Monday nights, and I'll recognize some of the people that are doing great things. And and guess what happens, guy? All of a sudden next week, recruitment goes up because we had this guy speak on the call, where that one did this, and that lady spoke, and now things start to happen because guess what? People want to be recognized. And so so I'm using recognition as a tool, right? And I'm recognizing people, and we did it on an event, right? And so anyway, that's a little bit about I could just, the event system. Again, you can tell, there's a 30-minute to an hour conversation about even how to build for events. And some of the questions I just mentioned, who's been in it and so forth, and what are the tools and how do I use them? When should I use them? Who should I use them on? When should I not? Same thing about recognition. But these three things, almost everything we do in network marketing fits in those things. And if you got, a great recruitment system, but your recognition system sucks, and you're not recognition and praising your people, and again, praise them in public. If you have to reprimand them, you reprimand them in private, right? And so you want to. So when you're doing it in public, the recognition is going to be done at the event, right? And who should be recognized, and how can you use recognition to move and grow your team and promotions and things like that. So that's the system, guy. That and it's much more than just let's go put some people in the business, right? It's so much more than that. And if you can learn these and keep that tire completely blown up like it should be. If you're doing good at tools and you do a good event, but you don't do the recognition at the event, you're probably not going to have many people coming back. And if you don't learn to build for events, because if you understand that, again, events are where lives are changed, events are where decisions are made, events are where people hear testimonies, and every event's different, right? Events is a conference call, and the more people you put on that call as far as recruitment or a product call. And so understanding all of this and getting this, if you keep that tire blown up, and if the company you're working for does those things right there, then you got a good chance at rolling down the road a lot faster than going ka-thump, 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 because they don't understand tools, or they don't understand recognition, or they don't understand events and all these inner workings together. So long answer, but a short answer as opposed to, this again, 30 minutes to an hour at least on all of those segments in the inner workings. I did that in just a few minutes or whatever it was there. But you kind of start, people can kind of start getting that there's, right. And I'm hoping we're opening some eyes. Matter of fact, if we open some eyes, leave some hearts down there, or some eye signs or whatever, I don't know. But hopefully we're maybe open some eyes here and maybe getting you to think a little bit more about this beautiful industry, this game of network marketing that we're in, and you kind of start seeing that the difference in, I've had people all the time tell me after a couple of weeks or a couple of months, even, I thought I knew network marketing. I can see why you guys make so much more money. You guys think differently. There's a method to everything you do, and there is. So, but anyway, guys, so hopefully that helps.
Oh yeah, excellent. And what what I was going to say is where you were just going. And if you are tuning in and you are a network marketer or you're not a network marketer, let us know that too as well, so we can have a discussion on in a different level for that. But I think a lot of companies do those things, but maybe they don't have the science or the discipline behind it to understand the value of each of those three sections of the pie and put it into a no kidding system as you have, Brad. And this is one of the reasons, as we led this thing off with saying how you have been able to go into a company after company after company and recreate that number one income earning status. Not everybody could, I would doubt very few people would be able to duplicate that. And one of the reasons why you are able to is because you do understand this deep science behind everything. And now that you're the owners of a company in Sealy by Design, I know there's another aspect of this system, and I know we want to get to leadership, but I mean, we've just opened up a can of worms here, and I want to keep going down this rabbit trail because I have, in conversations that I get with people coming in, especially people from other network marketing companies, one of the very first questions they ask, believe it or not, is can I utilize social media to promote my business? Because there are companies out there that refrain from that. They don't want it out on Facebook. They don't want you promoting it, anything like that. Now, as people have seen on my website, I am definitely promoting Sealy by Design. I talk about the products. I talk about the business. My wife is doing the same. Our team is doing the same. What's your philosophies on that, Brad?
Yeah, well, exactly. And I kind of, again, because I do know the same thing you're talking about. Some people don't allow, some companies don't want to use social media, don't even allow their people to do it, or very little, right? And so let's talk a little bit about the part of the system that most people think a system is, and that's recruiting, right? How do I get customers, or how do I get distributors? Because again, that's just part, as you heard of what I just said. And I wanted to make sure we understand that there's more to it than this little segment we're going to talk about here. And I'll tie that into the social media, which again, right now, if you don't understand social media is important, I don't know where you're living, right? But because most people, again, when people ask about a system, a lot of people is, well, my system is make a list, and the leader may tell you make a list and call your friends and neighbors and loved ones, right? And now, guys, that's not a system, right? Now that should be part of the system. I mean, a matter of fact, I think I'll just give you my, like it or not, I'm going to give you my thoughts on people that say, well, I don't want to call my friends, I don't want to call my loved ones or whatnot. And so, guys, if what you're doing, if you're that embarrassed about it, then get out, because you're not going to succeed. If what you're doing, you would feel embarrassed and you wouldn't want to talk to your mother about this product, or maybe your brother about this opportunity. Now, I'm not saying they may be the most negative people in the world. You may not even want them in your business, right? But the point is, if you have that attitude and it's that bad that I don't want to talk to you, my friends, and then guess what? You are so ashamed of this industry. You're so ashamed of what you're doing. You might as well just get out now and just become a product user. Because if you don't have any pride, and maybe calls like this or labs like this will maybe bring you up to understand the value. People are making serious money. I know people, friends of mine, that are making $1 million a month, or have made $1 million a month, hundreds of thousands a month, et cetera. We've made millions in the industry, and you can. I'm not going to say I don't want to make an income claim. I'm not saying you can do it here, but this is a legitimate industry, folks. Billions and billions of dollars being done around the world every year, and so again, if you have that. Just, I don't want to jump on anybody here, but if you're that far down in the basement of this industry that you just got into or looking to get into, that you're afraid and you wouldn't want to call on them. I'm not saying you have to. I don't have to. You may or might, but if you have that in, you got to change that, guys, and see a little more pride in what we're doing here and a little more legitimacy in this. Because if you got a product that's really changing lives, why would you not want to talk to your mother, your father, your brother? And that's just kind of my rule of thumb. If this is something that you're ashamed of or you wouldn't promote to your mother, then get out. Go find another company. Go find another product, or just get out of the industry altogether, because you're not going to do well, right? And so now, that being said, the little side rant there, for lack of a better word, that being said, is that should not be the system. That should be part of the system. Matter of fact, I think that should probably, in most cases, be step one of the system. Is again, because again, your easiest crowd is your people that you have commonality with, people, your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones. Those already have you already have a little bit of commonality with them, a little bit of respect with them, a little bit of credibility. So yeah, that's kind of, and I like to practice on them anyway. If they don't get in, because if you can't have a dialogue and a conversation with people you know, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder with people you don't know. So you can kind of warm up and learn the plan. This is on the job training, right? What you need to learn, you learn by doing, right? So we're going to go out here and do this. And so with that said, I think everybody should be, again, doing what we call in our company a VGO, a virtual grand opening, and I think everybody should do one. My philosophy is you should do a virtual grand opening in the first 72 hours of your business, right? Which, by the way, regardless of your system, folks, write this down. People fly or die in the first 72 hours. People are going to fly or die in the first 72 hours. If you're out here recruiting people, again, if they're just using your product, that's a different thing. But even if they're using your product, you want to make sure when they get it in their hands that they do open it up, that they do start taking it, and they take it compliant. In other words, if it says take it one time a day, take it one time a day, because that's 95% of the people, when they say a product doesn't work, I can tell you 95% of them is because they didn't do it compliantly. They didn't take it, or they took it every other day or whatnot. So even then you want to follow up with them. But people die or fly in the first 72 hours. What I mean by that, guy, is if you don't get them into action in the first 72 hours, they're pretty much going to die out. And they're not going to tell you I'm quitting. Most of them don't quit like that. And you can't quit if you never get started, right? So then I didn't, that guy quit. Well, he didn't quit. You never got him started, right? So as a network marketer, a leader, or a member, a distributor, because if you're signing people up, you are a leader, which is another whole mindset. The minute you get network marketing, if you're going to go build the team, if you're going to sell products, you're more in the sales portion. If you're going to start signing people up, you are a leader. So number one thing is get that, guys. I mean, that's the hard thing. People don't consider themselves a leader because they're not at your position yet, guy. They're not up at the ranks. They're not making your kind of money. But when you're in network marketing, folks, you're in leadership. Because if you're going to build a team, right? So start changing your philosophy and start understanding I'm a leader. And if you're going to be a leader, then you want to get your people started in the first 72 hours on something, right? And I like to do a virtual grand opening because they get into action, they don't quit on you, right? So if you don't get them in 72 hours, most people are going to die out, right? So you're going to get them to fly, or you're going to get them to die in the first 72 hours. Some people don't want to go in the first 72 hours. Much of that's going to depend on you. As much of it depends on you, more of it depends on you than it does them, right? They don't know what they want to do yet most of the time, right? They think they do, right? But so anyway, that being said, making a list, doing that kind of thing, I definitely think that is part of it. I think you should go with the easy crowd and then move into some of the other parts of the system, right? And so now, again, what I've discovered, guys, again, if you're not into online marketing, if you're not into social media, and by the way, choosing your company, I would look at, okay, is the company I'm looking at social media friendly? And I think there's three parts of this. I think there's friendly. Companies are social media friendly. Some people are even more. They're even supportive and encouraging. And then some are supplying and providing. Now, each company is different. Now, again, to me, if they're not at least social media friendly, I'm not joining, because we live in a social media world, right? And I'll get into that just a second, a little bit more. So if they're not at least friendly, at least allow you to, to do social media, some don't, and that's just my personal opinion, right? You can do this without crossing and making income claims and product claims and be able to go on social media. You should be able. That's a leadership from the top, in my opinion. You need to make sure you're policing that, right? So if that's the excuse of why they don't use it, then that to me is just a weak excuse. But are they at least friendly? Or number two, which is even better, are they encouraging, right? Are they supportive and encouraging you to do, which we do. We encourage you to use Facebook, right? So that would be the second level of, it goes from non-sportive to, or non-friendly, non-usage, or non-friendly, kind of frown on it, to being friendly, to being supportive and encouraging. Do they support you? Do they even encourage you to maybe go do some Facebook or do some Instagram or whatever? And then the fourth one is, do they supply and provide? And what I mean by that, do they actually supply you with content, with post that you can use? And that's kind of where we fall in, because if you're coming brand new into this, and do they supply you with training? Do they provide you with training? Do they teach you how to use social media? Do they supply you with the videos that you'll need to do social media? Do they supply you with the Facebook or Instagram post and all of that, right? Okay, and so and that's to me the ultimate. That's where we're at. Okay, now all companies are different, but if you're brand new and not doing social media, I just don't get why any company would not. You have to be online, guys, and you have to be an online presence anymore. And if this shutdown and this coronavirus is not teaching you that, then I don't get it. I mean, so I was telling this to a guy, I think yesterday, guy. You guys probably seen this meme going around Facebook, and there's a one half the meme is a dog picture and a cat picture on the other half, and the dog picture says, "Well, why don't we just work from home forever?" And the cat picture says, "How quick can we get the country open?" Right? So the dogs, they're friendly. They love you. They want you to be around all the time, right? They're like, yeah, why can't we stay home forever, work from home forever? And the cat's like, get away, don't pet me, get away from me. When are you going back to work, human? So, but but look at the difference in concept. Why don't we work from home forever? I don't mind working home. The only thing I want to open up is so I can go to some of the restaurants I want, or maybe go get a massage and some of those things. Beyond that, it doesn't change my life because I'm working from home anyway, guy. And I know you guys are most for the biggest part, right? And so you want to make sure, guys, you're building a business for the future that you can work from home, right? And to me, social media is a big part of that. Matter of fact, I used to say I work from home. Now I say I work from home. So let me get into this a little bit for you, guy, and for the folks on here. This right here, folks. If you got this, you can work from anywhere. And if you got social media and if you know how to work it, and you have your leaders or your company or someone's teaching you. Again, I used to say I have a home-based business. Now I tell people I have a phone-based business. I used to say I work from home. Now I say I work from phone. And here's what I can tell you, folks, especially those who think that maybe your friends don't want to be part of network marketing. Here's what I figured out a long time ago, folks. Most people don't hate network marketing. You have people say, "Well, I don't hate network marketing." What I've really realized is most people don't hate network marketing. What they hate is the way that network marketing is being done. Because for years we did what I just talked about. You got to make a list, call your friends and neighbors and loved ones, and then at that point, if you don't have any, once you run out of people, now you're kind of dead in the water, right? It's like, what do I do now, right? And so. I got to call my friends. I got to go to church and approach Aunt Mary and all that and so forth, right? And we could talk about that. We got to do 3 foot. Well, all these different things we need to do, right? So most people don't hate network marketing. They just hate the way network marketing is being done. But if you show them a system whereby they can get out of that portion and you can teach them and train them on how to do some of this social media. Because here's the things, guys, there is no shortage of people that want to buy your product. There are no shortage of people that right today just got off their knees this morning getting out of bed or while they were in bed asking and praying for an opportunity, looking for something to help me make ends meet, right? So you've just got to get out there and you got to be in front of them, right? And some of them are strangers. I just say strangers are friends we haven't met yet, right? That's how I look at strangers, right? And in this world of network of social media and working from phone opens up the doors, right? Because here's what I can tell you. Let me turn my ringer off here. Somebody's just beeping in there. So getting away from the way network marketing used to work and getting more into the future. And this is one of the things we talked about early on. I like a lot of that. Some things I don't like about how network marketing has evolved. There's other things I love, and this is one of them, guys. I mean, we've made millions of dollars, guys, online and working Facebook and all that. As a matter of fact, our last company we built in about 170 countries, and not bragging, not an ego, not an income claim. Within 5.5 months, we had our income to $50,000 a week. $50,000 a week, guys, in 5.5 months. You know how many meetings, face-to-face meetings we had done? Two. I had a friend in Dallas wanted to know if I'd come and help him and do a couple meetings for him. And the third thing I did was I did a Saturday training for him. And that hadn't left my home and making $50,000 a month. Had business in over 100 countries around the world. Ultimately, 170 countries, right? All from the phone, right? And so, because here's what I'll tell you, folks. If you look at and we're just going to throw some bits and pieces out to you, okay? People, again, they don't hate network marketing. They hate the way network marketing is being done. So if you can position yourself in things like Facebook, in things like Instagram, in things like lives, what you're doing here today, look, guy, you can reach people all around the world. And I'm sure we have people checking in from other countries, and you're sitting in your home in Phoenix, and Arizona there, I'm here in Las Vegas, and we have people watching from all around the world without having to go face to face and without having to go out here and totally call on friends and neighbors. You should. That's not bad. But so here's the thing I'll tell you: using your phone to build your business, folks. Work from phone. And so when I talk about that, here's what I mean. The phone is where people live, folks. Meet people with where they live, right? And so that's what we do differently in our company. I want to meet you where you live. Where do you live? You live on your phone. Your phone is for most people, it's the first thing they check in the morning most of the time before their feet hit the bed. It hit the ground, right? It's the last thing they look at night before they close their eyes in bed is their phone. So they check it first thing in the morning. They check it the last thing at night. They check it all throughout the day. And so what we understand is I'm going to meet you where you live. You don't want to go. You don't want to get dressed up and go to a meeting. Drive across town. You got kids in soccer. Your daughter's in dance. You got swim lessons. You got working 2 jobs. You don't have time to go to another meeting, right? However, while you're watching your kid's soccer game, if you can watch a video or maybe plug into a webinar, you're like, oh, I can do that. You mean I don't have to go anywhere? You mean I can just send this link to someone? Everybody in your world's got a cell phone. They're checking it every day. There's no accident why there's hundreds of millions of people on Facebook, right? And all these other social medias, right? And so, success leaves clues, right? All you got to do is just look at the patterns. And so this is where people are wanting to be engaged, right? As a matter of fact, a lot of times people don't even want to talk to you anymore. They want you to text them, right? And so learning to use the phone and even the purposes or the different parts of social media. I mean, so when you're looking at that, you can do Facebook is one of my favorites. We're kind of that older generations. The generations younger than us use a lot more of Instagram, and of course the generations under them uses a Snapchat. Right? I don't even know how to do Snapchat. I think I've only ever sent one message on Instagram. But those are cash cows. They're all ways to make money, right? Okay. And so I was listening to a podcast last night, a marketing podcast. I'm constantly just engaged in learning and growing myself. And one of the marketing podcasts I was talking about is what they were talking about is they were doing teaching online, and one of the companies they had being successful, and they were trying to pinpoint what the success was coming from, and was it Facebook, was it Instagram, and what they concluded was it was a multiple pronged approach, right? It was not just doing video only, it was not just doing Facebook only, it was a multitude of bringing in the leads and bringing in the sales, right? And so doing a little bit of all of it. And so what we teach again is just look. I can sit here and we just we teach. And you get in our company, we we're not just friendly, we're not just supportive and encouraging. We provide and we supply, a webinar system for you. So if you're the type of person that you're so shy, you can't even lead silent prayer in church, right? You're so shy. Well, that's fine. Can you send a text, right? Can you send an email? Can you forward a Facebook message, right? And so we supply you with a webinar system, right? Because webinar is a part of it. Now, webinar is just one part of social media, and they serve a purpose. Then you have things like these lives, right? People that they serve a purpose, and they serve 2 different purposes, right? And so we have Facebook Lives, right? And so and when you get in our company, there's already training on how to do Facebook. It's a complete course when you get involved. And so again, we supply you with the training not from someone who says, there's no saying that those who can't do teach, right? And so, you got to be careful. You get out here and spend money with all these Facebook people, or all these people that never built a business and can't do it, but they can teach it, right? Well, I don't teach from theory, folks. I teach from experience. We've made tons of money, millions online, working online and Facebook and video and things like that. So we teach a 90-minute class webinar where the screens are up and you can see exactly what to do with your Facebook and how to do it. We teach you how to friend 5,000 people. We teach you what to say to those people. We teach you how to get quality people, on and on. So we do that. Another thing we do is so we supply that, we provide that. We also have, if you want to know how to do these Facebook Lives, folks, they're huge, right? Facebook Lives are huge. And so that's kind of the more up and coming thing. We got a whole training on how to do that, right? When you come involved. So again, we're supplying and providing that. Are you doing that for your team, right? And again, what I like about what we've done here in our system, our online system, again, save yourself time, energy, and money, right? You don't have to go out here and recreate the wheel. You just plug in and we'll teach you how to do Facebook Live. Now, some people don't like to do lives. That's fine. It's not required, right? Some people want to use our webinar system. Some people want to grab some friends and get their Facebook count up from 300 to 5,000. And if you got 300, you're marketing to 300 people. If you make a post with 5,000, you're marketing to 5,000 people, right? And so we even supply you with the post. We have a company that we have that every single day they post two to three Facebook and Instagram posts every single day. So you don't have to create them. All you got to do is follow our Facebook or follow our Instagram and then forward those to your page. So because I know you're brand new, you don't know how to do this. You don't want to spend your last thing I want you to do is spend your as an owner. Or if I was your upline, last thing I want you to do is spending all your time all day long creating a meme, right, or a post. So guess what? We've taken that out of your hands. We've got hundreds and hundreds of posts. If you go to our Facebook, you go to our Instagram, and we even have some in our back office. But all you got to do is grab them and put them over. We teach you how to do it. We teach you when to post, all that stuff. Okay. And so when you're looking at that, that's what starts to happen here, guys. This is how we build our businesses in our previous company. We're going to do the same thing here. Right now, we're just in the U.S., but as we start doing that, and you're groomed for the future, because this is the future, guys. I mean, when you're looking at things like Telegram, and again, that's where Telegram. We post on Telegram almost every day, so all of our distributors, they can get on their phone and they can see the post, they can see the before and after pictures, they can see recognition, they can see all the different parts of the system. It's a tool, right? And so being able to use things like, there's so many of them, guys. There's YouTube, there's Zoom, and you can use a multiplicity of these, or you can just use one, or you can not use any, right? I'm not telling you that you got to do that. I'm telling you I would, right? Let me give you an example here. This is, just to be able to set at your phone. Tell me you're lazy. Tell me you're crazy. But don't tell me you can't send a text 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, 10 times a day. I like to say do 10 touches a day. 10 touches a day, right? That's not going to kill anybody. Leaders, big people, they'll do 50 or 100. But when I say 10 touches a day, touching someone on Facebook, touching someone on Instagram, touching someone in your contact list of your phone, and touch them and send them an email, send them a text, send them a Facebook post. Have you seen this post? Or have you seen my product? Here's a before and after picture. Have you seen this video, right? And videos are king, guys. If I ask you right now, here's the thing. If I ask you right now, what's the number one search engine in the world, you'd say Google. If I ask you what's the number 2 search engine in the world, most of you say Yahoo or Bing. You get this, guys. The number 2 search engine in the world is YouTube. YouTube. That's the number. People get on YouTube to learn how to. I do it all the time. Something's happening on my computer. I'll go to YouTube and check it. I'll search YouTube for, Zoom's not working or this or that or whatever, how to do. I was on there last night, something we were talking about in our mentoring session last night, and I got on YouTube and found the answer, right? So YouTube, people, and what does that tell us, folks? People are telling you, I want to watch videos.
Yes.
They're telling you. So why not meet them where they live? Here's a great one. Did you realize that 85% of all the videos watched on Facebook, people watch without sound, right? They watch without sound. So having little small 1-minute videos that people can see what your product is and not hear, any good advertising company does this. They do the no sound test on a commercial they see on TV. And if you're smart, you do a no sound test. If I watch that video, can I tell, if I watch that commercial, can I tell what you're selling, right? And so understanding that, what even that stat I just gave you, that 85% of the videos watched on Facebook in your news feed are done without sound, right? And so, do you have those kind of tools, and are you taught how to use them, okay? And using these tools, and so bringing it back full circle, guys, this is, again, people don't hate network marketing. They hate how network marketing is being done. If you can go out here and do things like social media, and there are so many of them, so many ways to do them, and so much. If you can do that, if you can meet them where they live, the behavior never lies. Behavior never lies. Behavior is teaching us that people love Instagram, people love Facebook, people love lives like this, people love videos. So why not just meet them where they live, pop them off a video that they can watch on their phone that they have with them 24/7. That's what I love about it with the phones, what we're doing now. Back in the day, guy, when I came up in network marketing, I had to drive an hour, 2 hours, drive across town to meet someone, or I'd have to call them, and I'd get them on their answer machine, and they may check that answer machine that night, or may check it the next day, and you don't ever know when they get the message. What I love about a phone, look, I had somebody the other day tell me, well, you didn't leave me a message. I'm like, I don't have to. I've called you 3 times. You look, one thing I'm not dumb on, right? I'm not dumb enough to think you didn't see I called you, right? And so now if you want to call me back or whatnot, but you're not, everybody looks at their phone, and I know, I called you, right? So whether I left you a message or not, but the point is, so, but meeting people where they live, knowing this is sped it up, I guess. I don't know, speeded it up, we'll sped it up. You can, because they got it with them. Now, they may choose not to respond or whatnot, but they've got their phone with them, and you can just meet them where they live. And what's so beautiful about this is the duplication part, because they realize, well, I don't have to go to a meeting. I can just send this out. I can send this out. I can get here. And the folks, the world is truly your oyster. There's no shortage of people that you can market in front of. And I'm just sold out on a system, and I'm kind of bounced around with some of that. But again, what we do and how we've built here in the last, and prior to that, we used to do an advertising system. Right? And prior to that, we did, newspaper ads and so forth. But what we have done is you got to be relevant, right?
So you're adjusting to where the people are. You're meeting them where they're at, and we're gonna have to wrap this up, Brad. We've gone a little bit longer than we normally do, but I mean, it's just such a wealth of information. Before I do end it, is there's like a 1 or 2 minute synopsis that you would like to just throw it out, because I kind of interrupted you there. Is there 1 or 2 ways you'd like to close this out?
Well, just the thing is, again, we spent a lot of time on that last part about my passion for the social media and some of that. And again, and let me just say a couple of quick things. When I'm saying social media and Facebook, I'm not even talking about buying any ads. Now, that's a whole different advanced thing. I'm just talking about us. I don't buy ads on Facebook. I just do Facebook, right? And so a couple of things. I don't want to be over your head and think, well, I got to learn to buy ads. I got to pay pay per click, and that's a whole other thing. I don't care if you do that, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's about being yourself and taking a little few steps and learning this and doing the social media part of it, right? And do the warm market, do your face to face, but understand, folks, this where we are today is the future. It is, whether you are shut down or whether you are working from home or working from phone. It is definitely the future. That's why companies like Alibaba and eBay and Amazon and all that, they're doing a lot of sales, billions and billions, but it's all online, right? So kind of let your mind start to kind of follow those trends. And I love the face to face, and we will do our face to face in our events and meetings. And I've went to Chicago a number of times. I've gone into Atlanta over there to work with that team, and Florence. I do that thing, but have this part of your toolbox is what I'd recommend. Then I'll finish up by kind of taking us back just a minute and understanding this last portion. And there's a lot left out, so you're gonna have to contact Guy if you want to understand how all this fits together. But what I can tell you is we have the recruitment system. We have where you can sit on your phone and build a business. Okay, so you have to get with him if you want to know how some of the structure of that and what a BGO is and how we use YouTube or Facebook and live streams and all of it together, and Instagram, Facebook. So, but to go back just a second, remember this is just one portion of the system, okay? Just because this is just, we kind of got off into maybe we should have did this portion first, but we kind of got off into just what the recruitment part of the system and add that into social media. But understand there's much more to it, and you want to be with someone like a Guy or some, or us, whoever, your company, whoever you're looking for, but that understands tools, events, and recognition, and how they intermingle, and how that just keeps you a tire that can just fly down the road and give optimal speed and better gas mileage and again, condensing units of time. System, again, save yourself time, energy, and money, because you want to make a lot of money, but you also want to have the time to go out and enjoy it, right? Once we get off.
That's right. Well, I will tell you what, if there's anybody that's listening to this or listening to the rebroadcast or still here live with us right now, and I will tell you what, there should be no doubt in your mind that we have a system here in place to help you grow your business. We've got Mr. Brad Hager here, who has earned that $30 million in this industry because he understands and knows how to build systems. And he's brought that here with us, for us, in this incredible company, as Sealy by Design. There was an interesting post on a networking Facebook page that was posted this week, and it's created a lot of discussion. And one of those, do you want to choose an established company or a startup? And the discussion on that feed was absolutely phenomenal to me. And we've been weighing in and going back and forth on it. And, some people really like an established company. I will tell you what, for me, and I know for Mr. Hager, and where we see this thing going and the belief behind it, I hope you understand that even though this is a startup company, you have that leadership and that knowledge and that wisdom. There is no other choice but for us to go to the top with this company. We're going to become a million-dollar company and even into the billion-dollar company. And we're going to be going across the globe with this entire CBD. What we're launching with CBD, but really we're a health and wellness company. And we're going to be going across the board with brand new technology that nobody has. We're super excited for it. Of course, we've completely run out of time for this one. And the really crux of everything I wanted to get to was going to take all this and then bring it into the leadership. And because the leadership is what makes it all go. And if you look behind you and there's nobody there, then you're not leading anybody, right? And as John Maxwell has says, and I know he's a personal friend and mentor of yours, Brad, that everything rises and falls on leadership. So if it's okay with you, we're going to do one more of these, finish out the series. I guess it's going to be a 4-part series. If it's all right with you, we'll meet again here next Thursday and talk leadership.
All right, that sounds great, and I promise I'll try not to get in any rants or any tangents and any rabbit holes. There's just so much to cover here,
That's
and
right.
but we'll focus on nothing but how leadership, your leadership, will give you some coaching on what I would do to become a better leader if I were you. We'll give you some ways to do that because you're right. Everything's leadership, nothing more than nothing less. It's all about leadership, especially in this industry. It's not about salesmanship; it's leadership. So we'll do that, guy, and we'll keep you very focused and bring your notepad because that's going to be a great one. So it's going to be one of my favorite subjects at all. Probably my favorite subject is leadership.
I got pages of notes. I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Hager. We'll see you soon.
All right,
Bye-bye,
have me on,
everybody.
guy. Okay,
Okay,
bye bye.
bye-bye. Bye.